Hi guys, you are welcome to another book reflection, and today we are reflecting The Mountain Is You by Brianna Wiest. I hope I'm saying it properly. This is one of the most beautiful books you can ever read in your whole entire life. I don't know what you think when you're thinking The Mountain Is You or what comes to your mind, but one thing I can tell you for sure, this is a book that is worth all of your money, guys. I'm trying to find a great positioning. This is perfect, yeah? So, wait, let me find a proper positioning. Lento, your vlog twin is problematic. Can you guys see me? I hope you guys can see me. Like, yeah. So, this is one of the most beautiful books you can ever read. I got my copy from Exclusive Books, and it was 614. It is, yeah, it's 614. It's one of those expensive books, but it's worth your coins. I really highly recommend. And there's a few things that I learned from this book. But before I go into that, my name is Yvonne Princess Shabango. If you're new here, you're welcome to like, subscribe, share, and comment. And then I'm judging you guys. You guys didn't watch the reflection for Counting Miracles. I don't know why. Where are the people that were watching the Alchemist reflection? Because I thought you guys enjoy reading. But anyway, if you're not a reader, pick up a book, pick up a newspaper, pick up something. It really does you good. It really does help with your vocabulary. It really does help with your confidence. It does also help with articulating yourself very well and confidently so, right? It helps you with expressing yourself. So there's a couple of things that I feel like are very important to note, right? So one of my greatest lessons from this book is that life is always working out for our good, whether we see it or not. It works out according to the purpose and call for our life. So there are moments where you don't see it. There are moments where you feel like nothing is happening. There are moments where you feel like, oh my God, my life is a mess. But I promise you, the good and the bad, it all aligns for your good. You just need to show up as best as you can and do your level best to be a good person, right? And there's some sort of scripture to back it up, right? If you don't believe in these words, if you don't believe these words, believe God, because he doesn't lie, right? Like, I wrote some notes down, so pardon me. So if you don't believe the words, believe God. God is not a man that he should lie, right? Romans 8 verse 28 says, and we know with great confidence that God, who is deeply concerned about us, causes all things to work together as a plan for those who love God, to those who are called according to his plan and purpose, right? So do not panic even when things are not going well, right? So you are the problem. So when you decide not to enjoy life, you are the problem. You are the mountain. You are the person that's sabotaging yourself. Because here's the thing. Another thing we need to learn is to relinquish control, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, whether you plan, whether you have a vision board, whether you have a timetable, whatever it is that you think you have, it's not in your control. So you don't get the job because you control the narrative. You get the job because it's part of your purpose. Yes, it's important that you show up excellently. It's important that you do what you got to do and all of that. But you need to also understand that there's a higher power in control. My higher power being God. I don't know what's your higher power. Sorry. I don't know what's your higher power, but it's important that you're aware and you're cognizant of the fact that you are not in control. God is in control in my case, right? And then your collapse is a sign of rebirth. Yes, it's uncomfortable and it hurts and you don't understand, but allow it all to fall apart so that it can come together and start afresh. Guys, most of the time when we hit rock bottom, or when we fall apart, or when things don't go our way, or when like things are not working out, we crash out. But it's very important that things don't work out. If anything, that's what Brianna thinks. If anything, it's important that things don't work out. Because then when things don't work out, you then get to meet a different version of yourself. You get to think critically. You get to be innovative. You get to do your level best to become the best version of yourself. So let things fall apart. Is it Chinu Achebene says things fall apart? Let the things fall apart. Let the things fall apart. Right? Because when it falls apart, it will all come together and work together for your good. And then, mountains don't always resemble negativity. At times, it's the answered prayer or blessing we don't know how to navigate or resemble. So most of the time, we think mountains is negativity when a person says, like, I think even in the Word of God, it says, cast this mountain. When we're thinking mountains, we're thinking all the negative things. But you know what? Sometimes the mountain is, because unfortunately, guys, change, whether good or bad, is uncomfortable, right? So we often focus on the mountain being the extremely bad things, the things that we don't like, or the things that we don't agree with. But what we are not cognizant of is the fact that sometimes the mountain is the new job that you're struggling to fit into the company culture yet. Sometimes the mountain is you losing the weight you've always wanted to lose, but now you feel like you don't look your best. The mountain could be you gaining the weight that you wanted to gain, but you feel like you don't like it. It's you moving to the city, your dream city, and realizing it's actually not what you thought it is. It's you getting certain things that you've always prayed for, but now you can't navigate and embrace them. So always remember, when you hear the term mountain, it's not always a bad thing. Embrace your mountains. If anything, climb over them, right? And then self-sabotage isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's unconscious. Sometimes we think we're doing things to protect ourselves, but we're actually doing things to prevent ourselves. So apparently, when you read the book also, like, which you're going to enjoy, one of the things she says is that subconsciously, change, and it's scientifically proven, the brain cannot distinguish between bad or good. So anytime there's a change of routine, it resists. That's why, like, for instance, if you go into a routine of waking up early, or maybe you start training, gymming, or whatever the case may be, sometimes there's some sort of resistance, and it's not because you're incapable, but sometimes because your brain goes on autopilot to protect you. So the main point of your brain is to protect you. So with that, brain cannot distinguish between harm and good. So sometimes, even when something is good, the first instinct, it goes on protector mode, right? So that's why it's very important that you're also sometimes able to distinguish, or rather you train your brain in a way that you're able to direct it in the correct manner that you would like to live your life. And then connection doesn't always have to come from common trauma, complaints, negativity, gossip. You can connect with loved ones via shared dreams, memories, values, hobbies, and thoughts about life in the future. Most of the time, people trauma bond. Trauma bonding is a thing. I don't even know why it's a thing. So I love how Brianna speaks about how sometimes connection is in loving the same thing. It's okay to connect with people because you both like soccer. It's okay to connect with people because you both love reading. It's okay to connect with people because you both enjoy taking walks. It really does not have to be a common hater, a common complaint. We see this in the workplace. Most of the time, the people that you end up getting along with are the people that you're complaining about the same thing. Then every day you're complaining about the same thing. Then you have a connection. But those type of connections are problematic, because when that complaint is gone, or when that form of negativity has been resolved, then there are new issues. Then you realize that maybe you don't even like the person, or you don't even see the need for the connection. So always be particular about who you connect with and how you decide to connect with people. So you need to be able to decide to say, okay, these are the type of people that I connect with, and these are my reasons, or this is how I decide to measure a good connection. Have your toolbox. And then you cannot love, I love this so much. You cannot love yourself out of suffering or inauthenticity or unhappiness. Guys, you can go to all the spas in the world. You can have the lattes, the matchas, the cappuccinos, the dirty Caribbeans, and you can do whatever you want to do, but you cannot love yourself out of pain. You cannot love yourself out of suffering. Those are regular emotions that are part of our living. Pain is part of living. Suffering is part of living. Unfortunately, I don't know who sold us the dream of a life without pain, a life without suffering, because that does not exist. So you must know that you can't love yourself out of pain and suffering. You can try to soothe yourself, but you can't love yourself out of it. You better embrace it, because in any event, all emotions pass. Things are not always the same. This too shall pass, the good, the bad, and And then the power of compound interest, everything derives from accumulation. Things don't just happen. So these are my lessons from chapter 1 to chapter 4, right? So these are some of the things that I was writing down that resonated, right? So she also then elaborates on the power of compound interest to say everything becomes better at accumulation. You don't get better in fitness just because you've done it once. or for 5 hours or once for 20 hours. You get better because you've done it every single day for 15 minutes and you keep gradually increasing. That's how compound interest work. And I think that's how also some people who are into investing will tell you that, you do better and you grow and all of that when you allow things to grow compoundly, right? And that's applicable in everything in life. So one step at a time. So be those people. Let's say, for instance, you scheduled yourself to read 20 pages in the day. So instead of not reading 20 pages at all, try to read 2 pages. That's something. Eventually you will finish the 20 page. It may not be in the one day, but it will be in the week or whatever, but eventually it's going to get done. And then another thing we also need to be cognizant about is that our parents did the best they could with what they had. We can't keep blaming them to escape. So we have, and I'm going to say we, me included, because sometimes when life really hits hard, I'm like, okay, if only my parents took me to a very private school, or if only my mother bought me a car when I was 18 as she had promised, things would have been different. Or if only. That's usually when I know that I don't want to take accountability. I'm quick to run to my parents. And I say this with sensitivity because I know that there are some parents that are like I don't know, psychotic. But also, with that said, we are adults. We get to choose the adults that we become. Yes, trauma follows you and everything, but you decide. Because that's the thing. Logic is trauma doesn't go away. It shows up in different ways. Sometimes you think you've dealt with something and then for it to randomly show up in future. So it's very important that you have an understanding that you're an adult now. Yes, I'm talking to you. You're an adult now and you make your choices. So you can't keep on saying, oh no, but I'm like this because my mom, I'm mean because my dad, I'm this, I'm that. So you figured out that your parents' style of raising you was harmful to you. Then get help. Find a way to get out of that whole thing. Right? Okay. We're together, Angit. We're together. And then another thing, adversity, challenges expose parts of you that are hidden, that are latent. So latent means like it's like there's little fires in you, and when they go out, they just, So when you go through challenges and adversity, you expose those parts of you that are beautiful, those parts of you that are a lamp, those parts of you that are a light, those parts of you that are hidden. Basically, when you're hidden. When you're latent, you're actually hidden. So your challenges expose those parts. We don't know our full potential and abilities until we are exposed to various life challenges, experiences. I'll give you an example, like my Hyrox journey. I didn't know that I was going to finish Hyrox. I didn't know I was that strong until I finished Hyrox. I didn't know I could do that much lunges until I finished Hyrox. I didn't know I could do that much burpees until I finished Hyrox. So there's certain challenges or adversities or things that are hard that actually show you more of you. Like it actually exposes who you really are, right? And then when we reject change or challenges, we limit our ability to grow and become better, creative, and mentally strong. So if you're a person who doesn't want change, you're a person that doesn't want to be challenged, my darling, you are squinting your growth. You are stunting your growth. You are limiting yourself. You are delaying yourself to the next big thing about you. You are literally self-sabotaging, basically. So in as much as change is complicated, is hard, is tricky, embrace it. Embrace it. It teaches you to be creative. It teaches you to be mentally strong. And then any change, whether good or bad, triggers a stressor because of unfamiliarity. As I mentioned earlier on, it's very important to have an understanding that whether we like it or not, whether good or bad, change does impact us, right? And because the brain is created to protect us, automatically when there's a new change, it creates a stressor. So you could be having, you could have just secured your dream job and be stressed, and you're stressed because of unfamiliarity. You're stressed because of certain things that are not working out in your way, right? And then giving valuable information to people who cannot understand or comprehend it is dangerous. So these are my own summaries, right? However, there's there's certain things she mentions, and the summary of it was, it's pointless trying to feed people wisdom when they can't comprehend the wisdom. It's really pointless. So the first thing that you need to always try and figure out, or you need to always ensure, is that the people that you're feeding this wisdom actually are able to comprehend, or they have capacity to comprehend this wisdom that you're giving to them, right? And then in most case scenarios, anxiety does not stem from what's happening. It's usually from what or how we think about what is happening. The inability to process or think it through is what triggers the anxiety. So often you're not anxious about the very thing. You're anxious about the processing of the thing. You're anxious about the future. You're anxious about how it changes your whole life. So also this book teaches you how to sort of manage certain things. It's not a replacement for your therapist, your psychiatrist, your medical experts, your life coach, and all of that. But it does have some tools that actually help you manage certain things, or be realistic about those things, right? And then avoidance is not healing. Where am I avoiding people? Hello, come here. Come to the front seat. This book, you have to get it. Avoiding a problem or avoiding a situation. One, when you avoid a problem, you're not resolving it. Two, when you avoid a situation, you're not healing it. You are actually amplifying it. You are brewing an atomic bomb. Literally, that's what you're doing. Healing is facing the challenge at hand and developing a logical way of processing and responding to the challenge. Literally, if you're going through something, my darling, don't think because you've drank yourself to sleep, you've smoked yourself to sleep, you've eaten yourself to sleep, you've ran 50 kilometers, it doesn't go away until you face it for what it is. So make sure that you face your challenges head on. And then there's a couple of course, I'm going to share certain things. I just opened one of my faves, right? So one of the things she says, we cannot leave being governed by how we feel. Our emotions are temporary and not always reflective of reality. Guys, it's very important. Emotional regulation is an important aspect of our lives. It's important that you're able to self-regulate. It's important that you're able to manage yourself, manage your emotions. Because here's the thing, sometimes our emotions are not real. Sometimes our emotions are but just that. They're just feelings, and it's not always that they resemble the truth of the matter. So always keep your emotions in check. When you feel a certain way, don't just be quick to jump and react and act accordingly, right? And then another thing that's very important for you to note, breakthroughs do not happen spontaneously. They are tipping points. It goes back to what I was saying. One thing, like instead of working out 5 hours a day every day for a week, you work out 15 minutes. Eventually you're gonna hit your break. Eventually you're gonna get the thing. It's like when you want your dream job, you don't randomly wake up and you get the dream job. You build up your experience, you build up your career brick by brick. So it's very important that you are cognizant of that. And then sometimes you also realize that one breakthrough that is small can lead to many other breakthroughs. So when you do stuff, be intentional with the little details. Those little details could lead you to the bigger picture, right? And then also, again, you are allowed to change your mind, guys. It's very important that you are aware that you're allowed to change your mind. And you see, she has chapter 4 that helps you with emotional intelligence. This is a good book. Make sure that you read it. It's life-changing. Buy it. It's expensive, Yona, but like life-changing. Very life-changing. I would not trade it for anything. I would not. This is one of the books that I wouldn't give to anyone, because hey, it's very valuable and useful. It's a book you always go back to and check to say, okay, maybe let me just read chapter 4 only because my emotions are all over the place, right? So again, your instinct doesn't exist to ensure you feel comfortable and ecstatic at all hours of the day. It moves you towards what you're meant to do because it shows you where your interests, skills, and desires intersect. So guys, again, your gut feeling, your instinct is very important. And it's very important that you become familiar with it, you get to know it, so that you know when it's misleading you, because it can mislead you, so that you know when it's leading you to the right path, and so that you know when it has a bias, right? So again, Feelings shouldn't inform you to make the right decision, right? Feelings don't inform our decisions. If you make decisions based on feelings and emotions, your decisions must come from your gut. Your decisions must come from your instincts, in your inner core, right? So because then if you follow every emotional impulse that you get, by now most of us, I don't know, would be in jail, right? And then again, if you realize that you have these impulses that make you, these impulses that stem from certain emotions and that make you self-destruct a lot, sit yourself down, take yourself on a date, whether it's walking, it's a picnic, forgive yourself, apologize to yourself, to say, hey, look, there's times where you've been angry and you've made wrong decisions, and I forgive you for that, right? And then start doing better, start regulating, guys. There's a trick whereby if you feel a certain way, stay for 10 minutes in that. You'll realize that after 10 minutes it don't matter anymore, right? Before you respond. If after 10 minutes you still feel the same, maybe you need to go write down in your journal and then figure out if you should still react to the situation, right? And then another thing, you are deeply connected to your mind. So how you regulate your gut and your mind intertwined. So if you are not checking your instincts and connecting your mind, checking your mind as well, having a clear mind, mental regulation is also very important. Mental regulation is very important because also it does impact how your instincts or your gut responds. So if you're not at the right mental state, your gut will mislead you because your mental state is not in the best shape possible. Let's see. And then this is also one of the most important things. The things that are bothering you most right now are not external forces trying to torture you for the sake of it. They are your own mind. Identify what in your life can be fixed, changed, transformed. If you continue to not take action, the siren will only get louder and louder. If you never learn to listen to it, you will probably just disassociate from it and then be a victim to it. So again, it's very important that you understand that your mind, these uncomfortabilities you have, all of these thoughts that you have, your mind is trying to lead you to say, okay, you need to change, you need to grow, you need to transform. However, another important factor is that you compartmentalize these things. There's a friend of mine, I was having a chat with him. I'm like, look, you're a diverse individual and you need to understand that you're not just a lawyer. Compartmentalize your skills, your interests, your entire character. There's certain rooms that I'll never ever even mention that I'm a podcaster because it has no bearing. There's certain rooms that I'll never ever mention that I'm an attorney because it has no bearing. There's certain rooms that I'll never ever mention that I'm a doctorate candidate because it has no bearing. So you need to create compets. Hey, like I'm young tongue twister. Create compets in your brain where you're like, okay, these are the things that need to change. These are the things I'm good at. These are the things that I'm bad at. These are the things that I need to work on. And then every now and then you go into your compact, you open the compact and be like, okay, are we transforming? Are we changing? What do we need to do to change? What do we need to transform? What do we need to do, this or that? But it's very important that you have a clear understanding that your brain is there to protect you. So your thoughts are not there to be against you. So if you ignore your thoughts and you don't listen to them and you don't put them in compact, they're going to end up being so noisy like a siren, and you're going to end up being a victim. You're going to end up in a bad state. So sometimes instead of trying to quiet your mind, try and understand it, interrogate it, engage with it, and see what it needs from you. Guys, I'm about to wrap up because I don't want to give you the whole book. You guys gotta buy the book. And then here's another bad thing we do. I also do this sometimes, and I think most of us, we do this. Downplaying our success. When we downplay our success in life, we're either trying to make ourselves seem less impressive so others do not feel threatened, and therefore like us more, right? Or we are trying to avoid the sense that we have made it because we are afraid of peaking. If you've made it, peak. Go to your peaks, guys. Stop downplaying your success. When a person says you're brilliant, you're intelligent, say yes. I remember there's a guy I was seeing, right? I was dating for a while, shame. bengithi love of my life. So he said to me on our first date, he said one of the things that he really liked about me. So he said to me, "You're intelligent." Then I said yes. He's like, "Oh my goodness, this is such a turn off. I have never met a person who you tell them that they're intelligent and they actually say yes. You're not modest about it." I'm like, "But that's the thing. That's the truth. If you had said I'm clever, I was gonna say no, I'm not clever because I don't think I'm so clever. I'm so clever, right? But if you say I'm intelligent, definitely, I have the brain, right? So it's very important that we don't downplay our successes. We honor them and we take up space in them, right? And then there's a difference between failing because you're trying something new and daring, and failing because you're not showing up, doing the work, or being responsible for your actions. Guys, there's a difference. So there's different types of people. Some of us try to do everything and anything. And sometimes we fail, sometimes we win, sometimes we leave it hanging, we leave it in limbo, right? There's those of us. Then there are those people that will just fail because, like for instance, you have high rocks but you're not training. You have an exam but you're not studying. So it's important to differentiate the reason you're failing. So failure is good, especially if you're trying a new thing, something unfamiliar. Of course you're going to fail at it. But now if you're deliberately not preparing, not training, not doing what you're supposed to do to actually excel in that particular thing, then you're a loser. You're sabotaging yourself. Then you need to do better. We almost there, guys. I'm wrapping up. And then don't worry about doing it well. Just do it. Literally every day I wake up and I'm just writing sentences of nothing, because I'm also then in a state of mind where I'm like, I don't care whether I'm doing it well, but I'm just doing it because eventually the more you do it, you'll realize that time has passed and you've become good at it. So you don't become good at something because you are perfect at it when you start. You become good at something because you've done it so many times over time. Instead of perfection, focus on progress. Instead of having something done perfectly, focus on just getting it done. From there, you can edit, build, grow, and develop it to exactly what your vision is. But if you don't get started, you will never arrive. And yeah, izophela kanjalo into yakho norapelang. And then sometimes we settle for what we are handed because we don't know we can ask for more. Sometimes we run our lives on autopilot for long enough that we begin to think when we no longer have a choice. You can ask for more. There is more, guys. There is more. You can ask for more. There is more out there. You can ask for more. Okay? The greatest act of self-love is to no longer accept a life you are unhappy with. It is to be able to state the problem plainly and in a straightforward manner. So guys, this is it. There is so much. I didn't cover a lot of things. There is so much. I didn't cover a lot of things, right? But it's also very important that when you're unhappy with your life, change